Hello friends, welcome back. So today I want to briefly discuss about the 7-point validation that I normally apply to check the quality of the content once I receive it from my content writer. So the reason behind doing this particular video is last week I uploaded one video about the problems that I faced with respect to content quality of my recent niche blog. Then there were few comments, few questions in the comment session from some of the subscribers asking me how exactly I check it. So that prompted me to make this video. I felt like probably many people must have been thinking about the same question. Probably they wouldn't have asked. So I'm just wanted to compile my basically the process that I have been following to check the quality. This is purely with respect to my own comfort and also what I prioritize or I felt like the way to check the content quality. Especially to start, before we get into the details, the quality is always subjective. So every person or every organization, every entity will have their own way of measuring it. So what I am going to talk next few minutes is the process that I follow and also the elements that I prioritized. Okay, so you assess your own strategy, and then maybe if you feel like these are all very important points, consider them, or else you can reprioritize and include some other elements whichever you feel like more important for your website, blog, or maybe your context. So let me start with the details. So once I receive article from many of my writers, the first thing that I normally check for is the language, grammar, vocabulary. So this is simple. The moment I read through maybe first few paragraph itself, I will be able to make out to some extent whether language looks at least decent and there without any mistakes, without any errors. If I find that very basic and lot of errors and all that, then immediately I inform the writer to run through all the basic grammar check, spell check, and all those things. Nowadays there are free tools available like Grammarly, or there are some other tools also available. Only thing is the writers need to spend that additional time after creating the content, after writing the entire article. Normally people will become little tired and they will not be ready to spend that additional 10-15 minutes of time. That's all what they need, any writer would require. Once you complete the article, take that 10-15 minutes of time to do a proofread and do that basic spell grammar check. Most of the mistakes will be found there, but lot of times I observed that writers miss that step. They already would have got exhausted or tired, and they simply actually push that article. So this is what I check it out. So one very important thing that I additionally check here is the language in perspective of the target country. What I mean to say is, for example, if I am getting the content written targeting US audience, then it is one more additional step is, apart from normal uh, language, grammar, vocabulary, we also need to check certain words or other phrases with respect to US English. That's most of the times it will be more or less same across, but still if you actually use the dictionary related to that particular country, there will be certain minor changes will be there. For example, I will tell you, let me just take one example. So for example, if you type for color versus color, so if you see here, color is mainly used in um, US. If you see here, color is preferred spelling in United States. In all other places, COLOUR is preferred, whereas in US COLOR is preferred. Likewise, customize versus, you can look at customize. This is also another word. Like, so you can see here. So somewhere they would have mentioned customize is American spelling and customize with S is a British spelling. So these are some minor things. What happens is, Google being now such an advanced AI machine, it can easily detect which region this particular content belongs to, or this is targeted to. So if you are picking up a native US writers, most likely you won't face this kind of problems. But US native writers are pricey, and you will have to pay a good amount of money. In case if you're actually going with the writers maybe in your local geographies, or any of the non-native English speaking writers, then it is very likely that they may not be paying enough attention for these kind of things. So this is something that I do some sanity checks there, and if I find a few words, then I normally advise our writer to go and change the settings to check the document language in accordance to US English, if you am actually targeting the content for US audience. Mostly, most of my blogs are all targeted towards US audience. So by default, I advise them, and it is very easy to do. If you are using the Google Doc, there is a clear language one option is there. You go and change that for American US, then automatically it will prompt you which are the words that are not in comply to the English used in US. Or if you are using a standalone Word document, there is a setting for language where you can simply change to US English. You will find multiple options there: US, British English, and US English. You just change it automatically. It will prompt these kind of small words which are not in compliant to the language of the region that you selected. This is additional tip here, apart from checking the general language, grammar, and vocabulary related things. The second point is no filler content. So this is a very common problem when I give some kind of a guideline, especially when I give any guideline about the word count. If the word count is little higher, most of the times I found that writers will just fill filler content. Just because of this reason, most of the times I avoid giving that word count, unless otherwise I really want a long form content. Typically, if I need an article about a 1500 word or so, of late I stopped giving that head count word count target. Otherwise, increasingly I found lot of filler content being added. A lot of general statements like this is a very good product, people appreciated it, people liked it, they felt that it is very useful, all this kind of a very general stuff, which is included in most of in multiple places. Okay, this is something you can easily make out. If you are read through maybe 2-3 paragraphs, you will be able to make out if it is a really targeted focused content or filler content. So this is one more validation that I do to check the quality of the content. The third one is coverage and completeness. So I normally prepare a detailed structure of my article. I and then give it to writer to just fill the content for all those subheadings. What I normally do is I prepare the title, then I list down all the sections and subsections like introduction, then maybe what is XSS and top 5 products if it is a buyer intent, whatever it is. So if you want to get an example or sample of it, I already created 2 videos. One, the ideal structure that I follow for informational content, and ideal structure that I follow for buyer intent content. 2 videos are there. Go ahead and check it out. You'll get a fair idea. Then on top of it, you can go ahead, always go and improvise it. So in spite of giving this detailed structure to the writers, not many times, but few times, I found that 100% the structure is not followed. Most of the times I found there are here and there some subsections, some maybe one of the main sections are completely missed out. If when I find it out and when I ask them, then the reason will come back. They normally tell me that they couldn't find enough information, or it was confusing, or there is a overlap between 2 sections. This kind of explanation that I normally get. Then I provide them additional information, but then I tell them that I appreciate if you ask these questions before actually submit it, because because some reason if I overlook that, then I go ahead and normally publish the same that content missing without including that specific topic. So this is also important for me because all those subtopics I select based on some keyword analysis or maybe article structure. If it is an article structure, if it is a buyer intent content article, most likely those will be very standard. But if it is an informational article, especially, every section title, every subsection that I pick up are because of the result of the keyword analysis that I do. So everything is important for me. So missing out a section basically is missing out maybe some traffic. So I normally cross verify these things. One is whether all the sections are being covered or not, all the subsections being covered or not, and also coverage in the sense objective. For example, if I asked a question, how long something lasts, or how what is the cost of so and so process, whether they really covered it or they gave a general statement like it costs high, it costs low, and this kind of thing. And don't be surprised, these are, we, in spite of giving this kind of instruction, we still, there are times where I got this kind of a general answers rather than exactly covering the objective of that particular subsection. This is the third validation I perform when I receive the content. Fourth one is word count. So word count, it is again, I'm not very stringent or particular about it, but normally I do some high level a competitor analysis, and then at that time I get an idea about how competition is basically performing with respect to word count. I want to ensure that I am not basically too less compared to the competition. So just an example, probably let's pick up maybe one article, maybe natural ways to get rid of flies. Let's look at this. For example, if this is the article that I am trying to write, natural ways to get rid of flies. So if you see here, there is a plugin, keyword surfer, I believe. Uh, so that actually gives the word count of all the search results. I believe I made a video about this also, basically listing out 3 free tools that you can use. Go ahead and check it out, that video. So once you install, it's not a plugin, sorry, it's an extension, Chrome extension. Then whenever you type a search query, it actually show the word count, excluding the first one. Now if you see the word count here, this also missed out for some reason, 1313, and then 1117, and then this is maybe exception, then 2000, around 4000, and these are not shown, basically not 100% accurate, but more or less it gives an idea. Let's pick maybe one more topic. So how to get rid of flies outside home remedies, let's see. So again 1327, one is exception, 1366, 2291, 1117, 1821. So in any search results, normally you will find something like this. There must be some reason for this. Let's look into this particular article. It won't be the exactly the content on this particular page. It may be, it probably it might be counting. See here, for this article there are so many comments are there. This particular algorithm would have counted all those comments as well. Even if that is not the case, so out of 10 results, if one such result is there with so completely outlier, like it is too short or too long, I normally ignore it. Then I will consider basically other things which are all more or less falling into certain kind of a pattern. If you see here, around 1300, 1300, around 2000, around 1100, around 1800, around 2000. So overall I get an idea about probably I need about a 2000 word content for this. So I give that kind of an instruction. Again, I don't do this 100% every time, depending on the quality of the content or detail, the content being delivered by the writer. So far I take this particular validation. If the content, if the writer has been already focusing onto the enough of quality details in spite of on top of basically word count, or um, independent of word count, normally I don't give this particular instruction. But In case if I see that writer is very particular about word count limit, some of the writers ask me what should be the word count limit. I normally, in those cases, basically I give them some kind of this kind of guidance. But again, I tell them this is not very stringent number. Around 2000, if you get a more quality content, go even up to 3000. But if you get only about maybe a 1500 1600 word of quality content, stop there. Don't neither basically drag it to 2000 just to meet that number, nor cut it down too much. Basically don't restrict, or basically don't exclude any content even just by after meeting 2000, even though you find the quality content. Both the ways I tell them, focus on quality with this particular number as is a rough around the word count that we need to meet. So once I receive the article, I normally verify. For example, if this is the article that I am writing, 2000 word will be there in my mind, or I would have given them the instructions. Then I verify. If the article is about anywhere about a 1500 to 2500, or even little more, little less, I am okay. But if the article is about, let's say, less than 1000 words, or probably a more than 3500 words, something like that, then it's not ideal situation. If it is too less, I ask them to add some more content. If it is too much of content than expected, I strongly feel there must be some filler content. If I read through 99.9%, I find a lot of content that is either irrelevant or filler content, then I normally ask the writer to edit it and remove it and make it more very focused target kind of an article. This is the fourth validation that I perform. The fifth one is the products included. So this is applicable only for the buyer intent content, commercial money articles, not for the informational content. So sometimes I give them the products also from Amazon or other affiliate, but primarily Amazon. But most of the times I tell them include top 5, include maybe top 3, something like that, looking at the user ratings and all that. In spite of telling them, sometimes I found that some of the products that writer included are very low rated, like 2.5, less than 3 kind of a rating in Amazon. So that doesn't help us, because when we are saying it is the best product, and when user goes and find it as the less rated by other buyers, then trust factor will get defeated. So I do that kind of a check. If any of the products are low rated, I normally advise writer to replace them. Otherwise, I am good with that. This is a very quick check. You don't need a lot of time. Even if there are about, let's say, 10 products, also hardly you need about it. Maybe 5 minutes to quickly verify those things. This is one more validation I do. And next one is a plagiarism check. So this is very common. I think most of us do it. If you can afford to buy a tool, a paid tool, there are quite a few paid tools are there. Copyscape is one of the premium popular tool. But otherwise also there are free tools also available. One of the free tool that I extensively use is so you have something called small SEO tools, plagiarism checker. Only restriction here is at a time you can key in about 1000 words here. So if we are getting about a 2000 word article, 3000 word article, all you need to do is basically paste here 1000 words once and next 1000 word once. It will give you the results. The difference is this particular tool will actually check sentence by sentence and then verify if that particular sentence is part of any of the other articles, and then show you if it is a redundant or not. For example, let's basically maybe we can verify one of the tool, one of the article here, and we can see, let's take some part of it, right, and just paste here, run for so it will see here, it shows basically which sentence is already is a duplicate or not, right, something like this. So this is the tool I normally use. I haven't purchased Copyscape yet. So far I am good with this. So if you can afford it, go ahead and purchase any of the premium tools that you like or you feel comfortable. Otherwise also this is free tool available. This is very important again. I normally give the guidelines to the writers, not more than 10% of duplicate content as per this tool. As per this tool, if it's a 10% means if you go for the primary premium tools, probably it may go up to 20-25% also. So this is the sixth validation that I do. And seventh validation is basically overall flow. So this is optional and there is no scientific way of verifying this one. So far whatever I told is all are there are scientific ways to verify it, but this one is more about your comfort. So your own you once you read through that article, right, you should feel like yes, this covers what I was looking at, and this is basically giving the information to the buyers what I felt like giving, or it has all those ingredients that I was looking for. So you need to have that satisfaction and comfort factor, and this varies person to person, depending on your like, what kind of a content you like, what kind of flow you like, and what is the basically the approach that you want to take for your content, your style basically. So again, optional. Over the time probably we all develop this, otherwise it's okay. So I can't give you any scientific ways of doing it, but I after publishing so many articles, I have my own style and I have my own judgment to decide whether article is basically looking good. I look at more like a readability and engaging and this kind of things, right? So this is the seventh validation. So these are all the seven validations. So quick recap is first one is basically language, grammar, vocabulary. On top of it, check for the specific language with in perspective of the country that you are targeting. Number two, no filler content. Number three, coverage and completeness. If you already have a structure, verify that. Then word count is again not 100% accurate or no very stringent, roughly with respect to the competition, some kind of a some guideline basically. And then verify the products being included if it is a buyer intent content, to see if the products are good, high rated, top rated or no. And sixth one is plagiarism, basically duplicate content. And last one is overall how the flow it all depends on your basically your comfort and your style. So these are the seven validation that I normally apply once I receive an article, though it looks a big list. Once you start practicing these things within about 15 to 20 minutes, I will verify, I can verify about a 2000 word article, all these elements, and quickly actually draft a feedback to my writer. So if you like any of these things, go ahead and practice these things, or if you have a better ways of basically verifying the quality of the content, please continue that, and also share your feedback in the comment sections. Probably I may also pick up some of your best practices. So that's all for today. Hope you like the content. Thank you very much for your time. Bye.